I'm Mark Brown.
And I'm McCuller. And this is Mark My Words.
Hey, coach, have you heard of this kid? And have you heard of this kid? Man, you got to see this mixtape and this mixtape. Right. It's all highlights and stuff like that, and it's their peers. Right. The kid sees, oh, this dude's a 5-star, this dude's ranked, and he has all these highlight tapes. Right. I might have to shy back a little bit instead of, shoot, I'm going to show him what I can do.
Right. TP, my guy, man. What's up with you, man?
What's going on, Mark and Mark?
Long time no see.
Yeah.
It's been a lot going on, man.
Yeah.
Just fill me in, bro. What's the latest with you?
Shoot, man, just trying to live safe, stay healthy. All this stuff going on. Still trying to train our girls over at Team Brandon Wright and all around game. Just having fun with that. Them 615 pro runs looking real good and stuff. Yeah. So, but for the most part, man, I'm just trying to stay low. Fly under that radar a little bit.
I see. Yeah. So speaking of flying under the radar, man, we're in a time in athletics and sports where when you're seeing these kids at a young age being ranked, top 10, top 5, or best in their class or in the country, ESPN and all of this. I would say, speaking for me personally, I feel like I can speak for us both. We were kind of those guys that were maybe labeled as maybe a little underrated or kind of flying under the radar.
Absolutely.
Man, tell me, is there any difference in today's guys, the group of guys maybe kind of flying under the radar, underrated? Is there any difference than when we were coming up until now?
I mean, I think it's because of the social media driven world that we're in and how important that is to a lot of kids nowadays. I mean, I coached at Black Fox Elementary with some elementary kids, and it's crazy of how much they were asking me, like, hey, coach, have you heard of this kid? And have you heard of this kid? Man, you got to see this mixtape and this mixtape. Right. It's all highlights and stuff like that, and they're just and it's their peers. Right. And these are guys that they're trying to compete against one day. Yeah. And I think the biggest difference is between you and I, we were hungry to beat that guy out. Right. I would, like, every Saturday morning, looking at that newspaper, seeing, Asa Duvall, what's Mark doing? Like, they're putting down 20, they're putting down 30. What am I doing? You know, like so it kind of fueled the flame a little bit. These kids are looking at these highlight tapes like, man, I want to be like him one day, which that's great, and it's good to have goals too. But they're only a couple years older than you, man. You should be looking at them like when they're
not the same class. Yeah, you got guys doing this, and they're amongst each other in the same class or grade or whatever. Yeah. I think that the thing that bothers me is, and you kind of hit it on the nail, when you have a chance to match up with guys, high-profile guys, ranked or whatever. Yeah. Guys kind of tend to, kind of shy back or trying to, but they're timid.
They glorify them too much.
Nah, if I see him at the mall or at the team club or something like that, it was, But when we step on the floor, I don't know. I gotta go to your
you should be gritting your teeth.
You know what I'm saying? I'm about to test that ranking.
Right.
You
exactly.
Know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's my dinner. How you feel about that?
I mean, I don't see it a lot. As much as when we were in the gym together. Right. I mean, obviously, I've known you for a long time, and we were training with Spence and even my boy Adison in the back. Man, we were those Sunday clinics at BGA every single time. I remember too. Adison, when I first started playing with y'all, man, and this is when I was still a young pup, and I was low key slaw. Right. So I was bringing the ball up the floor, and this dude behind the camera right here picked my pocket 2 times straight. Coming down, I said, "Hey man, look, I'm giving that ball up." But I tell you one thing: the next time I came each Sunday, I was looking out for him. I was like, man, I need to give him a bucket sometime. Right. I was looking at you whenever you were hitting your shots, like, man, he gave me a bucket. I need to give you a bucket right back. Right. But I see a lot of times now these kids are seeing like, oh man, that was a really good move. Oh, you're really, really good. Yeah. That like they're just glorifying them instead of kind of getting upset about it. Yeah. Which is what fuels the fire to, especially for me, what got me a lot better and what pushed me to try to get better. Right. Because I didn't really get serious interest for college until my senior year in high school, really, because that's when I was put into a position to really start doing some of the things I really wanted to do, like shoot the ball a lot more and kind of see what I could do off the dribble. And it was going after guys like you and Adison and Asa from he was at Brentwood and stuff like that, and in my same conference that pushed me to really be better. And I don't really see that a lot.
Yeah, man, it's unfortunate, and it doesn't have to be, as if you envy the guy. Right. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, all right, TP's rank number, number 4 in the state. You know what I'm saying? That means TP is going to have some scouts, some recruiters, or some schools, or whatever, whoever. He's going to have people at the game, period. Right. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is like, okay, there's opportunity. There's opportunity in it. You know what I mean? You're not saying that you're trying to steal people's interests or offers or anything like that, but it's like, all right, if I'm going against this kid and he's ranked or he's a high profile kid or he's already committed or whatever the case may be, you know, maybe if I challenge him, maybe if I go at him, maybe if I get the best of him in that matchup or those matchups that I face him, who knows what I can gain from that. Yeah,
and then look at this too, like that kind of competitive nature. Once you're going at people like that and you're grinding with them and you're doing all that, I mean, look at us right here. It comes full circle, and that's how you form relationships. That's why I love the game of basketball because you earn that respect. I mean, we don't remember those guys that were just kind of on the sideline, not really wanting to go out there and play. Because, I mean, we didn't see them. We saw the dudes that we wanted to go after. We saw dudes that wanted to come after us. So, it was, you know, that just kind of, it stays with you, and it's a whole life thing, and that's why I love the game of basketball so much, because it kind of brings that camaraderie. In terms of like the rankings and stuff, that's so much more apparent because of Twitter and Instagram and all these highlight tapes and stuff. So now I think the numbers are even more glorified in that if a kid, just like what you said, if a kid sees, oh, this dude's a 5-star, this dude's ranked 20 on ESPN or something like that, and he has all these highlight tapes, I might have to shy back a little bit instead of, shoot, I'm going to show him what I can do. I'm flying under the radar right now. I'm not ranked, but this is an opportunity, like you said, to go ahead and get my number.
And let's throw a name out there real quick.
Okay.
Put yourself back in the competitive edge. Let's maybe put an asterisk on it.
Okay.
If you're in the same class as Zion Williams,
hey, look.
No, hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I was actually, I was motivated to answer your question. I don't know if y'all seen it. There's like a meme or a picture or something of it's Zion. I think it's his senior year. And there's it may be like a 5'7", 5'8" kid, guarding Zion. But he right there though. You know what I'm saying? He right, and Zion kind of looking down at him like, I'll thump you. You know what I'm saying? But it kind of, hey man, it is what it is. Hey man.
What I would probably do, me personally, because I mean, we already thin dudes. You know what I'm saying? But I was even thinner in high school, so like that's barbecue chicken low key. So I would feed one of my bigs on him, but you know how I talk on the floor. I'd just be like, go at him, go at him more. Go, I would hang back.
It's definitely, I'd be more so mentally trying to go out. I mean, physically, I mean, come on now.
What we gonna do? Well, that's a big boy. That's a big boy.
But yeah, it'll definitely be, I'm trying to get inside his head. You know what I'm saying? Try to mess with him. I might pinch him,
Some of them Lance Stevensons.
I might blow it. You know what I'm saying? But all serious, man. I don't see myself backing away from that challenge. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if he do his thing, hey, he's Zion Williams.
Exactly.
He's supposed to. So, but back to a word that you mentioned, respect. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys, want to repost and reshare and tag, all these names and stuff like that, and put the emojis and the GOAT symbols and all of that. And it's just kind of like, I feel like guys do that to try to gain respect. No, you gain respect by going at him
on the floor.
You know what I'm saying? You gain respect by going at him. It was even something I posted. The Sky Clark kid that you guys have been working with. It was when when the uplifts kind of start happening, and the showcases and tournaments and start coming back, and I can't remember what it was, but it was man, I don't know if it was Tennessee Preps. I can't remember exactly who it was, but man, I like Sky Clark. Literally, they just kind of put a red carpet down, and he's just skipping to the rim, and I'm just like, hold on. We've been on shutdown. It's been COVID. You ain't been able to get in the gym.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now it's like I'm on 10 because I'm back in the gym now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I'm on 10. And then you have this high profile kid who's a 4 or 5-star, whatever. Top 5 kid in his class, or maybe in the country. I'm on the floor with him. And
everyone's
I'm,
watching.
I'm off the leash on this COVID, and man, I'm going. I'm on 10.
Exactly.
But it was very disappointing to see guys kind of like guys were literally. It was like they're almost running away from me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just don't know if I can ever.
It's kind of like that Space Jam scene when Michael Jordan was playing baseball, and you got the catcher over there talking about, hey, he's throwing a fastball, don't swing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's throwing a curve, don't swing. Like, you can't do that, man. Like, you got to go at him. And that's exactly what we've been trying to tell our girls.
Right.
Your Unc Spence on Twitter, he was saying, or in our practices, like, look, where you got your first half of your AAU season stripped from you. These are our 2021s.
Right.
Like, and it forced a lot of you guys to commit early and whatever, and not really go through their whole AAU process that was thought that they were going to get. So when we're in here and we only got one practice a week, why aren't we going at each other? Man. Because nothing's guaranteed. Right. And that was one of the first things I said to them at the end of our practice. I was like, hey, look, ladies, we said that we got a couple tournaments this week, but we don't know that for sure. Right. I mean, we have them scheduled, but boom, we had a ton of stuff scheduled, but it's just swept right under the rug. Away, just like that. So this whole year should just be a big vision to a lot of people that should really change their mindsets in terms of things that nothing's really guaranteed for you. So why aren't you going 110% every single time?
What Andre 3000 said, you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. You know what I'm saying? So, that's a bar right there.
That's a bar. That's a big time bar.
Man. Back to the guy, the kid, the girl, that's kind of under the radar. That's kind of that's not rated. That's not on maybe on a recruiting board. You and I being guys that can attest to that. Kind of paint that picture, like how does that look, the grind, recruiting, right? Even from a mental standpoint, how does being underrated or underrated, how does that look?
I can definitely tell you how it feels, man. It's like, especially when you're looking at all these guys that are getting so much interest, and you almost start to look at yourself like, dang, am I ever going to get there? You know what I'm saying? There was a point in my high school career where I seriously did not think, I wasn't sure if I was going to play college basketball or not. Right. Because just looking at some of my peers who I worked with and, worked out with and seeing how well they're doing, and I'm there, but I'm not there yet. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what can I do? And the only thing you really can do is get in the gym and get in the lab. So I was just constantly, Spence was saying, hey, man, when you trying to get in here? I'm like, today. When are you free? I'm trying to get shots of this and this and this. Yeah. And then you also have to brand yourself accordingly. All right. I mean, this is a big time that you can brand yourself, because everyone has their own business now with Twitter. Right. Yeah. Like your profile, and I don't think a lot of kids understand this, your profile is your business. Yeah. So all these college coaches are looking at your profile, looking at your brand, and looking at all your tweets, and they're completely profiling you as such. If you don't think it's fair, then you probably shouldn't be on Twitter, because what you're putting out there is you. Right. So you want to put yourself out there accordingly. So all of the the tapes of you working out and practicing, getting shots up, that's really good. Right. Hitting up, like putting coaches in your mentions, like, hey, you coached a great game. Just like little things. Now, obviously, we were coaches. You're still a coach in the collegiate level, right? And you get so many emails a day. Right. You have about 110 coming into you each day. Yeah. And the clinic we coached at, I forget my man's name, but he said something really good in that clinic, saying, I mean, get so many of them emails, try writing a letter. Right. When was the last time you saw a letter come across your desk? For a kid to take the time out to find that address, to find that school's address, to find that coach's name, to look up some of the things about the roster, this and this and this. A coach is going to see that. Yeah. Write something down for him to say, hey, I really appreciate your program. I appreciate your school. I think I can get a great education here. Right. Really, I'd love to hear from you and just kind of pick your brain a little bit about what I can be doing better as a player if you can check out my tape or something like that.
It makes him an outlier. You know what I'm saying? It's doing something for you to stand out in a pool of, because most prospects are guys that not everybody's ranked. That's what rankings are for. You know what I'm saying? You have a top 10, a top 25, top 50, top 100. But the mass of athletes are outside of that. So what can you do to compete or put yourself ahead of the next guy or the next girl? Right. So
and I won't even front because I played Division I basketball. I was blessed to be able to get a full scholarship to play at Eastern Michigan University. The only reason why I got that is because of my network.
Right.
Because of how I branded myself and the people I knew. My uncle, he's the GM for the Knicks right now. At the time, I think he was working with the Pistons, but he knew the head coach over at Eastern Michigan right now, Rob Murphy. He's known him for a long time. He said, hey, Rob, my kids or my nephew's trying to, play college ball. Can you work him out one time? And he was like, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Tell him to fly up.
Yeah.
So me and my dad flew up there. Obviously I got family up there, so we got to see them, spend time with them, got in the gym, got a good workout in. I showed out pretty well. Took me in his office, said, look, we got to honor this dude's scholarship for this year, but if you come on as a freshman and a red shirt and a walk-on at first, then you can earn your scholarship, coming in. He was saying, I think you can have a really good career here. Just seeing how I can shoot the ball and, just getting to know me as a person.
Right.
And that got me the opportunity. And I went ahead, took it, ran with it, earned my full scholarship, and made me a team captain as a freshman. Just of who I was as a person and how much like my work ethic and everything. I think kids kind of get that kind of difference, or like they don't understand that it's not like sometimes if you can hoop and you can just hoop, that's not always gonna get you to the level that you want to be. Yeah. It'll get you so far, but eventually it's gonna get cut short because it's treating your body right. Always wanting to grind, doing things the right way, as Coach Lou would say all the time. Branding yourself a certain way. Mm-hmm. All that kind of stuff, all that mental stuff, all the stuff that you're preaching on this podcast here is stuff that every single kid that has an aspiration to play basketball at a high level needs to know.
I tell them one of the biggest thing I pitch is academics. Guys don't realize, and even some parents don't realize how much academics playing a part. You'll get a kid that man, how he get a scholarship or how he get picked over me or whatever. Man, I'm more athletic than him. I can do whoop-de-whoop and all of that, and it's just kind of like, why? What's your GPA?
Yeah.
What's your ACT, SAT score?
Mm-hmm.
There's the answer right there. That kid, you know what I'm saying, whoever he or she may be, they may not be as athletic as you, or they may not be as versatile as you are. But I promise you, I bet you they have the GPA, and I bet you have the ACT or SAT score, in which how that plays in a part is, in which you and I have learned, scholarship money. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's a lot of it is, what do you bring to the table? And it's not just you being 6'5", or you jumping out of the gym, or that you can hit 8 out of 10 threes. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, or you can guard 94 feet. All those are great characteristics and great intangibles, but academics plays a huge part in it. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, if I was to rate a kid, you got one kid that's 8 out of 10, and you have a kid that's maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10. Right. Obviously, from face value, I want the best available player. Yeah. But when you get into crunching numbers and scholarships and things of that nature, it's like, okay,
starting to even out a little bit.
Right. This 8, you know what I'm saying, his GPA is did kind of mediocre grades and may got in trouble, or ACT or SAT score ain't so hot. But this kid that's a 6 or 7 out of 10, man, you got, a 3.0, 3.3, 23 on the ACT.
Take care of
you know what I'm saying? Like,
don't have to
clean
worry
cut.
About it.
Don't got to worry about him. On or off campus. He's gonna go to class. It's so much that goes into playing at the next level. Yeah. And I think and I'm not even gonna just say the kids. I think parents don't grasp that or preach that enough. Yeah. So that the kids are knowing and aware of that, and maybe they can handle themselves in a better manner, whether it be in the classroom, on social media, or just being out and about. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, with
playing at the next level and branding.
Yeah.
Do you feel like today it is easier to get to the next level because of the social media tools that we have available? And then on the flip side, does social media also help you mix some people, because they may be good, but you see them kind of wilding on social media and be like, nah, for us. So what are y'all's thoughts on that?
I absolutely. I mean, just like we were talking about, it's your profile, it's your brand. It's just another opportunity for someone to see you. I mean, it's so easy for someone to go viral just off like doing something crazy on the court. Yeah. And then a coach just sees it like, oh, that's impressive. Let me kind of dig in a little bit. That may happen.
Right.
I think, but on the flip side now, you may see so much of it then now it's just kind of a dime a dozen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
coaches are saying, okay, this is just another kid. He probably doesn't really know how to play. He's just out there doing trick shots and stuff.
Yeah.
But
or these are just highlights.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. My boy E Pope, who he videos a lot of our stuff with Team Brandon Wright and AAG. We were talking one time, and he was saying, put like some defensive clips in your highlights too.
Yeah.
Put a more broad highlight tape together instead of
you making a one more pass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like just making good basketball plays, seeing how you move without the basketball.
Yes.
I think that's huge. A lot of kids think they got to do all that stuff and then go get a bucket.
Yeah.
Which is important. You got to be able to create for yourself.
I mean, that's the name of the game. Put the ball in the hole.
But even more important, because you only have the ball maybe 20% of the time.
If that.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
How are you moving with that? J. Lou, the one you work for, the one we both used to work for, or I used to work for, looking at a kid like Jay Will, who was just looking at his highlight tapes, like, he wasn't even looking at what he could do, like how he could shoot the ball. He was just saying, look at how he spaced the floor. Look at how he slid right there when he drove. Look at how he backdoored right there when he came up. Like, some of those kind of things are definitely things that you need to be putting in your highlight tape, and you're able to do because of the platform that every kid has.
Right.
Absolutely.
Which leads into next topic, man. And it's a question that Adison posed. Would you rather be a star player on a not so good team, or would you rather be a decent player on a successful team?
Everyone loves a winner, man.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna take a winner because of the environment that they were put in. If you see a guy that obviously can really hoop and score the ball, you're going to look at, obviously, his competition that he's playing.
Right.
The position that he was in, okay. You were in that position where you had to score the ball because the people around you weren't very good. Right. So coaches are going to think, well, what's going to happen if I put you in this role? Right. Are you going to be able to do that? Mm-hmm. So it's really the kind of, like, it depends on the kind of kid you're dealing with. But for the most part, I think if you're just kind of a decent player that's hanging on the lines of a really successful team, first kind of kid that sticks out to me was Grayson Allen at his freshman year. Right. Who he was averaging about 9 minutes a game throughout the season. And his freshman year, his 2015 national tournament, he goes off for about 16 to 20 points because he was just in that role and he was playing his role to the best of his ability and his opportunity arose. And everyone was watching because he's on a good team. Right. So I think there's a balance and there's levels to it, but it's always better to be in a winning atmosphere. Right. I think on the pro level, you see it a lot. These guys trying to pick up like last minute vets like Juwan Howard was getting a check for a long time, and Richard Jefferson. They weren't playing a lot, but coaches loved having them in the locker room and loved just having them around. Right. So if you're on a really successful team. And then, just like you said, Adison, this is a way that you can really continue to brand yourself, and that's an opportunity to promote yourself out on your social media to this coaches. Hey, my team is really doing well. I added a couple really pivotal buckets here. Yeah. Here's me just supporting my team. I'll be
at the state tournament.
I'll be at the state tournament, which coaches obviously want to see because that's usually the best of the best, or at least the well-coached teams. Right. So, and that adds a big perspective. How were you coached in high school? How were you coached in college? Right. Was it kind of a lackluster team that was just kind of letting you go? Or what were you drilled? Were you strict? You know what I'm saying? So, absolutely.
But going back to social media and the highlights, I think kids, they get so caught up in, man, he made this nice move. Mm-hmm. Or, Mikey Williams, did a off the backboard windmill
between the legs. Yeah,
you know what I mean? I think kids get, or he got pats, he got handles. Right. And I think kids get so caught up in that until it's like, okay, we're gonna start at your respective level, which is the high school level. Mm-hmm. A decent kid, right? You may be the first or top 2, top 3 guys on your high school roster. Which gives you kind of a little wiggle room in high school to do some things and not necessarily play with the ball or be a ball stopper, but it gives you opportunity to do your thing. Right. But when moving on to the next level, which is the college level, it's definitely not the case. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be more so a rotation guy. You're going to be walking into a program that has, you know, one or two, maybe three guys that, okay, they have to get their touches, or we're going through, or we're playing through this guy. Especially if you got a good post player, you know what I'm saying? Got to feed the big man.
Gotta feed
you know
the
what I'm saying? Or if you have a point guard that's versatile, can handle the ball, can score it, can create, then the ball's probably going to be in his hands more than anybody's.
Yeah.
Or if you got a wing player that can flat out score, hey man, if he gets hot, we need the ball to be in his hands.
Exactly. Yeah.
But again, going back to the mass of athletes, when you transition to the college level, you're probably going to become a role guy or a rotational guy, and it's, you know, why not tap into that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I promise you, you're not going to go to college, D1, D2, D3, NAI, whatever the case may be. You're more than likely probably not going to be a guy that's going to walk into a position where you're playing 32 plus minutes a game. You're getting 14 plus shots a game.
Right.
You know, it's not going to be the case.
Yeah, you got to adjust.
And so how can you prepare? Or, you know what I'm saying? You kind of going into that role at Eastern Michigan. How did you prepare to take on the role of not being that top guy, or go-to guy, or starting five, or whatever the case may be? What are some things that you did to prepare physically and mentally to take on that role?
Well, I think it was definitely a mindset thing. You know, I went in there into a team of all upperclassmen pretty much. I think I was one of two freshmen there, and I was a walk-on. So off rip, I was just trying to earn my respect. High school, I had the ball in my hands, you know, a good little bit. And I mean, you know, I'm a shooter, so I was shooting that thing in high school, but I was doing a lot more off the dribble as well. But in college, he just wants me to shoot the ball.
Right.
So that's where now, you know, we got a point guard. We got guards that can create and can handle better than I can. So we're going to put the ball in their hands, but I'm going to run you off screens. I'm going to get you open around the three-point line because that's what you do really, really well.
Right.
So I just looked at it as I'm going to trust my coach.
Right.
I'm going to trust the program. I'm going to trust the process. It's his job to win games. It's his job to put me in a position to be successful. Now, sometimes coaches don't always do that. You'll find that. But I believed in the system. So whenever I was out there, I was always in a place where I'm just catching and shooting, which was what I do well, and what I was comfortable with. And I trusted my other teammates to do what they did well.
Right.
And that's when you see great teams form. Because when you see 5 guys on the floor, all you need is 5.
Right.
But hopefully you have about 10 or 15.
Yeah.
And hopefully you have everyone who's, you know, the practice players on the same page as well. But when you have 5 guys out there who, okay, I'm the point guard, I need to control the tempo.
Right.
I'm the big man, I need to score in the post, I need to rebound, be the anchor of the defense. You know, I'm a scorer. Whenever I get the ball, I need to look to attack. I'm the shooter, I need to shoot the ball. I'm defensive minded, I need to lock up.
Right.
But that's when you see the teams like, okay, we're passing the ball around. Yeah. I'm trusting you to do what you do, so I don't have to do that.
Right.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to pass up my time to pat, because he can probably do it a little bit better than me. Right. I think sometimes it's a pride thing, too. Yeah. It's like coaches like, oh yeah, I was doing this in high school. Why can't I do it here? You think he's better than me, so I'm gonna show you. You know, no, man. Like, just you'll have your time to do that, but first get yourself ingrained in the system that you walked into. Right. And that's why I always tell kids, you better ask the coach what they want you to do. Like, what are you bringing me in here to do? Because if you don't want to do that, then don't go to that school, right? Or like go to a JUCO real quick, or go to a NAIA. And build your skills up, this and this and this, and do what you want to do if that's what you're looking for. Right. But make sure it fits the plan of what the coach is wanting you to do. Right. You know.
And one thing I noticed, as you mentioned, different players, different positions. Yeah. You never once said all 5 players had to be, the greatest or 5 stars. I mean, it's 5 puzzle pieces. You know what I'm saying? It's 5 guys. So you just need 5 puzzle pieces that come together. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully to paint a beautiful picture. You know what I'm saying? But we talked about this last night. I think the biggest thing with guys, and it's especially as you transition to the next level, it's most guys kind of know like what they are.
Right.
You know, they know if they're a point guard. They know if they're a shooter. They know if they're a 3-and-D guy.
Right.
A forward, a stretch forward, or back to the basket. Most guys, I feel, have a sense of what they are.
Yeah.
I think where players lack is knowing their role specifically in their program, and that doesn't necessarily have to do with the position. It's okay, I am the go-to guy on this team, or I am kind of a supporting cast type of guy. You know, I'm a starter, or you know, I'm a rotation guy. And then you even go on down the line. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm kind of outside of rotation. I need to do this to get coaches' attentions or coaches' confidence. And then, you know, kind of at the bottom of the barrel, you know, you have practice guys.
Right.
All of those guys have value.
Yeah.
But I think kids, you know, for some reason, they get fixed on if I'm not that top guy, if I'm not getting the most shots, if I'm not getting the most minutes, if I'm not starting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then I'm kind of devalued.
Yeah.
When, again, all of those pieces come together. I think what makes Belmont one of the best mid-major programs in the country is they have a group of guys that buy in to their roles. You know, when you look at Belmont's roster, I mean, you don't see 5 stars. You don't see, you know, you don't see maybe the Zion Williamsons or the Mikey Williams or, you know, kids like that. But they're successful year in and year out in conference, and they make it to the big dance because you see 15 guys, even guys that are at the end of the bench, and with their warm-up song, they're in tune, they're engaged. They all find value in their role, and they execute that. And even the guys towards the end of the bench, man, you know, even for a guy like Dylan Windler, somebody has to go at him and challenge him every day for him to be what he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if he's not challenged, or if he doesn't have any competition in practice or in workouts or 1-on-1 or 2-on-2s or whatever, then how can you expect him to be what he is? Or there's value in all roles. Kids kind of get caught up in, you know, if I'm not getting mines, then, you know, then we got another kid that's in the transfer portal.
Yeah, and I think they don't believe that they're going to have their opportunity. Like, coaches always say, you got to be ready when your number's called, which is absolutely true. But I feel like some kids just say, like, okay, he's just saying that to make me, you know, this and this and this. No, I was a practice player for the first 2 years of my, you know, my freshman, sophomore years at Eastern. And I was always trying to go at these guys. I mean, he named me a captain because I was, you know, so energetic in practice and always trying to push these guys. And so he felt that, you know, I earned that title, which was really awesome. But I ended up getting my moment when he was just like, the starters weren't performing. Like, sometimes that happens. And he's just looking down the bench like, you know, I don't know who else to put in. Shoot, let's get the young guy in there because at least I know he'll work hard because he does that in practice and it should translate, which it ended up doing. And so my junior year, which ended up being my last year there, I ended up putting myself in the rotation like an Alex Caruso now who's on the Lakers, undrafted. This kid is, you know, not your Dame Lillard or anybody or your Rajon Rondo, but he just goes hard whenever he's out on the floor. He was making huge plays in that win over the Clippers. This past was Thursday, Friday. It was Thursday, and he was just ready when his number's called. Now he's in that rotation. Once you get yourself in that rotation, then boom, you're there. And I was in that rotation. I mean, I ended up getting hurt, and it kind of, you know, messed things up and this and this. But I put myself in that opportunity. I put myself in that position because I stayed the course. I bought in, which I think a lot of you kids will hear. In every single college program, a coach is saying, hey, y'all just need to buy in or be on the same page. But you also have your moments to be that guy. Because sometimes if you're just a shooter, I was just a shooter, I'm hot though. So they're going to look to feed me and they're going to, all right, we need to get the ball in his hands to shoot. Okay, he's scoring the most right now. So sometimes you'll have that moment to be that guy and to be the guy in the locker room and like, hey, you're hooping out there, whatever. I've had some of those games,
right,
but I didn't force it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Kids need to believe that the opportunity is coming.
Right.
If they stay the course, they believe in it, and they just stay in the lab and continue to just be ready when their moment comes.
And I think my biggest intake from what you just said is mentally you were prepared for your opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think you get a lot of guys. You get a lot of guys that I want to do this, I want to be this, I want to do that, I want to be that, and it's just kind of like, okay, all right, you want to shoot this shot.
Yeah.
You want to shoot these amount of shots. How many of those shots are you getting up every day?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How many makes are you getting of those shots every day? Practice, skill work, on your own, get shots up in the morning before class.
Exactly.
Getting up shots after dinner, before you hang it up.
Right.
What are you doing to mentally prepare yourself for when that opportunity arises?
Yeah.
Man, one of my first college lessons, and I actually learned this on a visit, and I'm not even gonna lie, it moved me to commit to the first university I attended. But I'm in the locker room. There's a big poster, and it read, "You can't fake the harvest." And Coach asked me, he said, "Hey, we're kind of concluding my visit.
Right.
We're just kind of hanging out in the locker room, before I head back." And he pointed at that poster and he said, "What do you think that meant?" And I mean, I'm just like, I don't really know.
Say,
you know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Man, it's simple. When it comes harvest time, that though the results are gonna." The results are gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Or when it comes harvest time, you're gonna reap what you've sown.
Mm-hmm.
So before you can be, man, I got these fruits, or I got these veggies, or man, I got the corn, and I got my carrots, and you can talk this good game, but when it comes harvest time, TP coming to my garden and he be like, well, dang, bro, I thought I was gonna come over here and get some grapes and a batch of carrots, and but so man, that's been something that stuck with me even to this day. And I think you get a lot of guys, and it's one of the things. Hey man, I'm not a dream killer.
Right.
Aspire to be whatever. If you want to crack the starting five, if you want to be a go-to guy, if you want to be a guy that can get X amount of shot attempts in a game. If you're a guy that wants opportunity, prepare for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You get a lot of guys that they want X, Y, and Z, but are not putting the efforts and the energy into preparing for it. So when the opportunity comes, or the coach puts you in a position, it's just kind of like, well, dang son, or
right.
man, and but what I'm getting to is, the easiest way to gain a coach's confidence is to simply, again, coach, what am I here for? Yeah. What do you need from me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it be one thing, two things, or three things, and it's going at those things every day and perfecting those. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, as a college coach, as a former college coach, and and an AU coach, when it gets down to crunch time, I'm going to put the five guys, or I'm going to play that 7 or 8 man rotation of the guys that I am most confident in.
Right, that's showing
consistency. What I'm saying? That's going to be consistent and do what it is that not only I need them to do, but what the team needs them to do.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And 9 times out of 10, if you're a guy that's doing a lot of this,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And you're not, we're not seeing those results in practice, in skill development,
right?
Or even seeing you in the gym. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing. I don't even see you in the gym. Yeah. So how am I going to put you out on the floor for tens or hundreds or thousands of other people to see you?
Right.
But again, I just kind of concluding and wrapping it all up, man. There's value in all roles. I mean, if you want something, you have to put the time, the effort, and the energy into it. You know what I'm saying? You have to plant those seeds, and when it comes harvest time, you'll reap what you sow.
I think it's really important for a lot of kids to understand too, because like you said, you have your opportunity if you want to be that top 5 guy, if you want to be that guy that's getting all the shots, you can do that. We're not sitting here saying that you can't, but there are a lot of kids out here with God-given ability. So you do have to look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, he has a little bit more physical attributes than I do or something. So I have to work that much harder to get in that spot.
Right.
You know, it's not going to be easy. If you see a kid that can do something a lot easier than you can do it just off his just God-given ability. Sometimes that happens. Okay, I need to wake up at 6 a.m. and work on my handles. Yeah. I need to get a lift in maybe twice a day. You know, those are some. If you really want it, then you got to do some of that kind of stuff. You got to look at that other guy and see what is he doing different than me.
Right.
And you have to do what he does and then some. Like double that if you want to beat him out.
Right.
Okay, so I mean it's and a lot of people do that. Dame Lillard and CJ McCullum, those are guys in the league right now that did kind of that stuff. So it's there for you, but you got to take it.
Yeah, and kind of the harsh reality of it is, you know, coaches kind of have, I'm not going to say favorites. Coaches, they kind of have an idea of, okay, we're going to put this guy in this position or put these guys in these positions, or this is our rotation, these are our 5. And you may be a guy that's kind of on the back end or the outside of that. Again, it doesn't mean you don't have any value, or it doesn't mean you're not wanted, or it doesn't mean that you'll never play or never get an opportunity. That just means you have to work that much harder to gain confidence in that coaching staff to put you in a position to get out on the floor, do your thing.
Yes, sir.
So
that's it right there, Mark.
Yeah, man. Good having you, TP, man.
I appreciate you having me on,
it's been a minute, man.
Yeah.
We'll definitely got to get you on for another one.
Yeah.
But appreciate you blessing the audience, man. And I'll let you take us out.
Hey, well, first I gotta appreciate this podcast here that you guys are using your platform to inspire these kids, which is something that us as young black men especially need to do to help each other and build each other up, and just pay it forward, man. I mean, we were all in the gym together at one point, and our job now is to pay it forward to our next generation. So I appreciate you guys for doing this. Whenever you want me on, man, I'm with you. I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. My guy.
Yes, sir.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of Mark My Words. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to Ball All Day, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yes, sir.